to have someone, walk in when I'm in the shower and do all the things, because, obviously we're living together. And I never would have imagined that anyone would see me naked. Never imagined anyone would be so close and could be in my space at any point in my day, and I would not care at all about that closeness or that openness or me. There's no mask, there's no clothes even sometimes, there's just no insecurity at all. So I think he's an amazing man too, which does help, but I don't know, as he would have been, the relationship wouldn't have been as good. He wouldn't have been what he is now, because I would have been closed off before I got rid of my shit, before I've cleared all the insecurities. I would have pushed him away. I would have been closed off. I would have hid myself. I would have been in my head all the time, instead of being, the open book that I am with him now. And I quite often talk to him about how far I've come and what I've learnt, and if he's being his male self, and I'll say, oh, you're just in your nothing box, saying, and that's all right. And he'll say, oh, you're crazy or something. That's yep. I'm just being me, and I have moments, and today's a day where the hormones are growing crazy or raging, and he just has to say, okay, that's great. I say what's happening with me and what I'm feeling and what I'm doing, which I never would have said before. I think a lot of women are just a closed book. They don't share how they're feeling, days that they're emotional, or days that their hormones going crazy, or days when something's happened and they need that shoulder to cry on, or whatever it may be. It just is, and I'm just open with sharing that, where that never would have happened before I got rid of my insecurities, before I was so closed off and so unable to even receive the love that he wanted to give me at the very, very start. That was another block that came up as soon as we started, to let him love me and let him, for me to be able to receive that was a big thing too. That was, that was great when that was gone. It was just so, open to everything, so easy and effortless. 18 months and we haven't had a fight. We don't argue. We laugh all the time. We're just, we're so good together and so happy together, and just we have our bad days. We have days when life's happening, or hormones are happening, or whatever's happening, but we help each other through it, because we can say what it is that's actually going on, instead of closing down and shutting off and pretending that there's nothing when there is actually something, which is really, really good.
And how were you 10 years ago before you started?
Oh my God, 10 years ago. I was...
when I first met you.
I was so sad, so depressed. I think it was a couple of months after my 40th birthday, and when my friends took me out, which I didn't want to go, but they took me to Sydney. When we were in the hotel room, I went out to the balcony, I wanted to jump off. That's what it was. We went on a harbour cruise. I thought, it's so easy just to jump off the boat. No one will see me, it's dark. Everyone was sitting around a table, and I was literally crying at the table and no one noticed. That's what it was. Invisible and in pain and really, really sad. And I never would have thought in that state, I never would have had anybody anywhere near me. Hard to explain. I wanted to be around people. I wanted people to notice that I was in pain so they could help, but at the same time I pushed them away, and I would shrink into myself, and I would stay home and curl up in a fetal position, stay in bed and cry. There was no life. There was no life at all. And to think that anybody else could have come into that and added to that, I was just so broken. It never would have happened.
And do you mind sharing just why you're broken?
I was alone. I was 40 and childless. That was a really big thing. I come from a family with lots and lots and lots of kiddies. Mum had 10 brothers and sisters. She had 5 kids. I had always thought I was going to be a mum. It was the only thing that I actually thought that I would do, you know. So friends wanted to be a hairdresser or a jeweler or a dentist or a doctor or whatever, you know, they had goals. Mine was to be a mum, and that didn't happen, so that was very hard. Yes. And I couldn't, as much as I wanted children, when everybody else was having them, it was too painful to enjoy other people's babies. But after doing Creatrix and clearing my blocks, which I'm so glad I did, because I was able to enjoy all the nieces and nephews that come after that. And, you know, I would walk down the street and someone would have a baby and I'd go and, you know, kids loved me. and I could give of myself in a joyful way after Creatrix, where before there was no joy, there was no anything, there was no life. So it was really hard to give anything to anyone else because you just didn't have anything. So life would have been very, very, very empty and lonely if I had survived it. Probably wouldn't have, I don't think, because that was 12 years ago. I can't imagine having lived that emptiness for that long.
Happy, your success story.
Yes, engaged.
Engaged.
Yes, and yeah, it's just
something you couldn't even imagine.
No, and you know what? I had, before I met him, so it's like about 18 months ago, I was 50, full on menopausal, so all the things that come with that. Dealing fine and emotionally, but my body, you know, was changing in so many different ways. And I thought, God, how is some man going to come in and be able to deal with everything that's menopause, you know, the hot flushes and the mood swings and the weight gain and all of the things. And I had become happy and content with me just being me and being alone for the first, because it was a heartbreaking thing 10 years before, but at 50 I was like, I'm fine, I'm absolutely fine. And I'm fine to go through life and I don't need anyone. And as soon as that happened and I was absolutely fine on my own, and then he just turned up and it was just like, there you go. So now I had to rechange that. Okay, well, yeah, you can come in. Yeah, okay, I'll let you. Yeah.
I'll let you cook for me.
Yeah.
He's a great cook.
Oh, look, it was always on my list, like 30 years on my list. I want a man that can cook, and there he is. It just took a lot longer than I thought, but there he come. Yeah.
It's great. It could free you of all of the stuff.
Yes.
And heal you.
Yeah.
Heal the pain and the need and the...
Yeah. The sadness and all of the sadness and the grief and the loss and the loneliness and the insecurities, they all piled up, and it was coming out of me as anger and, you know, hurt. It's that thing that comes out and you're yelling at people and just being something that you never thought you could, and you can't even control the tone. I could hear my tone and couldn't even change it or fix it or soften it. It was a terrible way to be. So I'm very, very grateful for the innovation, Maz, and you reaching out in that email. I can still remember getting the email and said, oh, guess what? I've created something that works with a female. Fuck, I've tried everything else. I'm going to do this too. And it worked. Saved my life. Changed it.
For the better. So happy. I was so happy when you sent me that message and told me that you found a man. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So excited for you.
It's just so out of the blue. And it was just instant. And, from the moment we first, I told him, he was shy in making a move. So I went around to his house and we talked and had a drink and, got to know each other a bit more, I suppose, outside because I'd only known him through work. And when I went to leave the house, I said, "Are you going to kiss me or what?" He's like, "Oh, okay, yes." But I never would have done that before either. Like, seriously. Are you going to kiss me or what?
Get what you want.
So, and I say to him sometimes, what would have happened if I hadn't have, come round to your house and then told you to kiss me? I don't know. I didn't want to scare you away, Seth. Okay.
How are you around each other, did you just say?
I was just saying, we were talking about insecurities, and I said that I just don't have any around Scott, which is bizarre and crazy because all I was before the resets was a big ball of insecurities. And before, for most of my life, I was always stuck in my head wondering about what I looked like and what I was wearing and what about my hair and doing my face, putting makeup on to be seen or go out or do anything, and worried about what you'd say, worried about how other people would think about you. There was just so much insecurity, so much worry, so much noise, always thinking, never ever just being. And I think that is the best thing that comes from getting rid of the insecurities, is just being able to just be yourself and be free without any noise going on in your head. You can be present in a moment, with any person. I'm not thinking, I can pull faces and say funny things or, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I am just being. And he accepts me. Well, he has to really, because I'm not changing. Because I'm just me now. And I told him that, I think the second day that, we were together, it's just like, this is it, and I'm happy on my own. You have to be adding value to my life, otherwise